The cold metal of my keys bites into my palm as I fumble with them, my fingers clumsy from a day that's stretched too long. The weight of exhaustion pulls at my shoulders, a lead cloak I can't shrug off, dragging me down with every step up the narrow stairwell to my apartment. It's March 22nd, 2025. Another Saturday swallowed by endless meetings and forced smiles, the kind that leave my jaw aching and my soul hollow. The lock clicks finally, a sharp sound that's swallowed by the silence of my empty sanctuary, and I push the door open, letting it creak on its hinges like a tired sigh. My bag slips from my shoulder, hitting the floor with a soft thud that echoes faintly, a lonely note in the stillness. I don't bother with the lights, not yet. The dark feels right, a mirror to the fog in my head. I shuffle forward, my sneakers scuffing against the worn hardwood, and reach for my phone on the hallway table, where I'd forgotten it this morning. My fingers brush the smooth glass, and I hesitate, the air suddenly thick with something I can't name. The sanctuary I crave, the one I've built in this cramped, overpriced box of a home, feels off tonight, like a melody played just out of tune. I sink into my favorite armchair, the one Nana left me, its faded fabric still holding a whisper of her lavender perfume. It's a ghost of comfort I cling to, a tether to something softer than the grind I've made my life. But that splinter of unease crawls up my spine, prickling my skin, and I can't shake it. The screen glows as I wake it, casting harsh shadows across my hands, and a notification stops me cold. A video message from Aunt Linda. Strange, she's not the type for videos, always too practical, too clipped in her texts about holiday plans or grocery runs. My thumb hovers over the play button, trembling slightly, as if it knows something I don't. Daisy Griffin, 29, reliable daughter, sister, ATM. My titles flash through my mind, a bitter litany I've worn like a badge. I've given everything to keep them afloat, to prove I'm enough. Work, savings, dreams, all poured into their endless needs. But this feels different. The silence presses in, heavy, expectant, and I press play, my breath catching like a snagged thread. Whatever's coming, I can feel it. A crack in the foundation of everything I've built my life on, waiting to split wide open. The video flares to life and Mom's voice, Nancy's, cuts through the speaker first, sharp with laughter that's nothing like the careful, trembling tone she uses when she needs something from me. It's almost too easy, she says, and the cruel edge in her words hooks into my chest, yanking my breath away. The frame shifts, unsteady, and there's Dad, Tom, leaning in, his face flushed from what's probably his third glass of wine by now. "Our little ATM," he chuckles, the sound thick and sloppy, and my stomach lurches. A sick twist that threatens to spill over. Then Jake, my baby brother, joins in, his voice smug, casual. "Did you see how fast she transferred the money for my emergency last week? She didn't even ask what it was for." Their laughter fills my apartment, bouncing off the walls until it's a physical thing, pressing against my ribs, squeezing the air from my lungs. My hands shake so badly I nearly drop the phone, but I can't look away. Every word they speak hammers another crack into what I thought was truth, splintering it like brittle glass. The screen blurs as tears well up, hot and stinging, but I force myself to keep watching, to let it sink in. Aunt Linda's camera wobbles. She must have been holding it, and I see my parents' living room in the background, the one where I've spent countless holidays chasing their approval. The plaid couch, the chipped coffee table, the framed photo of us smiling, all props in a play I didn't know I was starring in. Years of memories flash through my mind, each one taking on a darker shade. Nancy's urgent calls about overdue bills, her voice quivering just so. Tom showing up at my office, loud and looming to demand mortgage help. Jake's endless string of crises, car trouble, rent, that business idea, always solved by my money, my sacrifice. She's so desperate to be the good daughter, Nancy says, her voice dripping with satisfaction, and I flinch as if she slapped me. Remember when she skipped her vacation to pay for the roof repairs? Tom grunts agreement, and I do remember. The overtime hours, the canceled trip to the coast, the dreams I put on hold to prove my worth. My chest tightens until each breath feels like swallowing glass, jagged and raw. The video keeps rolling, but their voices fade beneath the roaring in my ears, a tidal wave of betrayal crashing over me. I grip the armrest, my nails digging into the fabric, anchoring myself as my world tilts on its axis. The lavender scent feels wrong now, too soft for this moment, too normal for the shattering of everything I've believed. A notification pings. Aunt Linda, frantic. "Oh God, Daisy, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send that to you. Please delete it." But she did send it, and I can't unsee it. Their casual cruelty, the calculated glee in their eyes, it's all there, etched into my phone like a brand. I replay it, my thumb moving on its own, and each viewing hardens the truth I've spent years denying. They don't love me. They never have. Only my bank account, my loyalty, my desperation to belong. I hit play again, the video looping like a nightmare I can't wake from. Nancy's "She's so desperate," Tom's "Just mention obligation," Jake's "Works every time," each line a blade twisting deeper. My apartment darkens as night creeps in, shadows stretching across the floor, like fingers reaching for me. The phone buzzes, Nancy's name flashing, her contact photo smiling, that practiced smile she uses when she wants something. My finger hovers over the answer button, years of conditioning screaming at me to pick up, to smooth it over, to keep the peace at any cost. But I let it ring, the sound a dull pulse against the roaring in my head, and stare at the scattered bills on my desk, physical reminders of their emergencies, their demands. The room spins, a kaleidoscope of sacrificed moments. Overtime for their roof, drained savings for Jake's lies, the promotion I didn't chase because I was too busy playing savior. My chest aches, a hollow space where trust used to live, and I wonder, who am I without their needs? The question rises like a tide, dark and relentless, threatening to pull me under. I've been their good daughter, their reliable sister, their endless well. But what's left of Daisy when the well runs dry? The video plays on, their laughter a taunt I can't silence, and I clutch the phone tighter, my knuckles whitening. The truth is a weight I can't lift yet, but it's there, pressing down, whispering that everything I've known is a lie. The video's laughter fades, but its echo lingers in my skull, a cruel refrain that won't let me rest. I sit in the dark, the apartment's silence wrapping around me like a shroud, and my hands tremble as I reach for a pen on the desk. The scattered bills stare up at me, mocking relics of a loyalty I've poured into a bottomless pit. I scribble on a crumpled receipt, the words spilling out before I can stop them. I will not be manipulated anymore. They look strange on paper, foreign yet sharp, like a blade cutting through years of fog. My phone buzzes. Jake's name lights up the screen, his text preview, a familiar plea. "Sis, I really need your help with..." I flip it face down, the motion deliberate. A small rebellion against the conditioning that's kept me tethered. Their voices replay in my mind, not from the video now, but from memory. Nancy's perfectly timed sighs, Tom's booming demands, Jake's wounded whines. They emerge like actors on a stage, each playing their part in a performance I've been too naive to see. Nancy, the maestro of guilt trips, her voice trembling just so when she needs cash for some fabricated crisis. Tom, the enforcer, showing up at my office to shame me into compliance when I dare to hesitate. And Jake, my baby brother, the one I've shielded since he was small enough to cling to me during storms, wielding my love like a weapon to pry open my wallet. Each recollection slots into place. A machine designed to grind me down, and anger flares in my chest, hot and clarifying, burning away the haze of doubt. I lean back in the chair, the pen still clutched tight, and the room feels smaller, the walls closing in with the weight of their betrayal. But something shifts beneath the anger. A spark, faint but growing, fueled by the truth I can't unsee. My phone pings again, softer this time, and I glance at it reluctantly. Emily's name glows. "Hey, you've seemed off. Want to grab coffee?" Her words pierce the darkness, a lifeline I didn't know I needed, and my fingers hover over the keyboard before typing, "Are you free now?" The response is instant. "Always for you. Usual spot?" I exhale, the breath shaky but real, and the spark flares brighter. Maybe I'm not as alone as they've made me feel. The daily grind buzzes with morning chatter as I push through the door, the scent of coffee and pastries wrapping around me like a warm sweater. I spot Emily in our corner booth, her curly hair a beacon against the muted tones of the cafe, and she slides over with a grin that falters when she sees my face. "You look like hell," she says, blunt as ever, and I almost laugh, the sound catching in my throat. Before I can answer, David Brooks steps up, his graying hair and steady gaze a reminder of grad school days when he pulled me through thesis panic. He sets 3 steaming mugs on the table, and I wrap my hands around mine, drawing strength from its solid warmth. "I hope you don't mind," Emily says, nodding at David. "We're worried, Daisy." David sits, his eyes narrowing as he leans in. "Your father came by my office yesterday," he says quietly, and my stomach twists, a cold knot forming. "Made some wild claims about your mental state, said you're unraveling." The old me would have crumbled, rushing to defend them, but the video's laughter echoes in my skull, a taunt I refuse to heed. "They're escalating," I say, my voice steadier than I feel, "because they're losing control." Emily squeezes my hand across the table, her grip firm, and David nods, pulling a business card from his pocket. "I know a lawyer who handles financial abuse cases," he says, sliding it toward me. "Just to understand your options." The card's edges bite my fingers, sharp with possibility, and I tuck it into my pocket like a talisman. My phone buzzes again. Nancy this time, her voice spilling through a voicemail I don't want to hear. "What do you think you're doing? Without your money, this family falls apart. Is that what you want?" She pauses, letting the guilt sink in, but the anger rises with it, a tide I can't hold back. I delete it mid-sentence and text back, "I'm not sending anything this month." The response is immediate, accusations, threats, but I set the phone down, my hands steady now. Emily watches me, her eyes soft but fierce. "You don't have to go through this alone," she says. And for the first time in days, I believe it. Back in my apartment, the evening shadows stretch long across the floor as I open my laptop, its screen glowing with a light that feels accusatory. The email notification blinks, insistent, and I click with trembling fingers, my breath catching as the subject line sears into my vision. R.E. Daisy's account. Next steps. It's an email chain between Nancy, Tom, and Jake, forwarded by mistake, or maybe not, from Linda's account. I scroll, and my world shifts again. Each message is a calculated strike. "Mortgage, plea, next week. Hit her late at night," Nancy writes. "Car trouble for me after that," Jake adds. "I'll show up at her office if she hesitates," Tom replies. They've scripted their crises, timed their guilt trips, to catch me at my weakest. A playbook designed to keep me drained and compliant. My hands steady as I open a new document, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat against the white void. I title it, Documentation of Financial Exploitation. The words stark and liberating, and start typing. January 2020. $8,400 for their emergency roof repair. February. $3,200 for Nancy's overdue medical bills. March. $2,800 for Jake's car trouble. The list grows, a litany of my life savings, $147,632, poured into their lies. I dig through old texts, screenshots piling up like evidence at a crime scene. Nancy's, "We could lose everything." Tom's, "Your mother's crying because of you." Jake's, "Sis, it's an emergency." Each one a thread in their web, and I've been the fly, trapped and bleeding cash. I unearth a buried folder in my email archive, my pulse quickening as I find it. The original loan documents for their house, my signature forged in Nancy's hasty scrawl. The missing piece slots into place, a key turning in a lock I didn't know existed, and the anger burns hotter, a flame licking at the edges of my fear. This isn't just about money anymore. It's power, control, a systematic dismantling of my independence disguised as family duty. My phone lights up, Nancy again, her photo a grotesque mask of every lie she's told. But I let it ring, unanswered, my eyes fixed on the screen. The laptop hums, a steady pulse of truth, and I add the forgery to my file, each click a brick in the wall I'm building between me and their manipulation. The room feels different now, the shadows less oppressive, as if the light of evidence has pushed them back. I lean forward, my fingers flying over the keys, cataloging every transfer, every plea, every guilt-laden word. The total stares back at me, $147,632. And it's not just numbers, it's years of my life, stolen and spent on their greed. My hands pause, steady now, and I save the file, naming it Reckoning. The word feels right, a promise I'm ready to keep. The office hums with midday chatter as I sit at my desk, the spreadsheet of evidence still glowing in my mind from last night's work. Nancy's voice slices through the noise, sharp and precise, like a surgeon's blade cutting across the marketing floor. "How dare you ignore my calls? Daisy!" she snaps, her heels clicking closer, drawing curious glances from my colleagues. I grip my coffee mug tighter, willing my hands not to shake, and force out a response. "Mom, I'm at work." The words come steady, surprising me, but she laughs, a calculated crackle I recognize from the video. "Oh, so now you're too important to help your family? What happened to gratitude?" Heat creeps up my neck as Tom, my supervisor, not my father, emerges from his office, eyebrows raised at the commotion. I fumble to mute her, but the damage is done, her voice already a public wound. That evening, Rossi's restaurant buzzes with clinking glasses and murmured laughter for Uncle Pete's birthday, and I slide into a corner booth, hoping to fade into the shadows. Tom, my father this time, has other plans. His voice booms across the white tablecloths, loud enough to turn heads. "Some people think they're too good for family once they get a fancy office job," he announces, swirling his third Cabernet, his eyes locking on mine with a smirk. "Isn't that right, Daisy?" The fresh bruise to my reputation stings, but something else rises, a pressure building like steam in a kettle. I set my fork down, the clatter sharp against the china, and meet his gaze. "Actually, Dad, I think it's more that some view family as an ATM rather than relatives." The table falls silent. Tom chokes mid-sip, wine staining his shirt, and Linda's eyes widen, knowing the video I mean. I leave the restaurant with their stunned faces burned into my memory. And later, in my apartment, I stand before the bathroom mirror. The woman staring back looks different, shoulders straighter, jaw set with a fire I've never let burn. Nancy's office performance, Tom's theatrical dismantling, they've only sharpened my edges, crystallized a truth I've feared. Their power over me exists only because I've allowed it, a leash I've handed them with every transfer, every yes. The steam in my chest builds, ready to scream, and I know it's time to stop bending. My phone buzzes. Jake. Hate to ask, but I'm in a tight spot, but I let it sit, unanswered, my reflection holding my focus. I'm done being their punching bag. The bedroom floor creaks under me as I sit cross-legged, surrounded by old photo albums, their faded smiles now a gallery of lies. I flip through them, each image a dagger. Christmas when I skipped a trip for Tom's emergency, my graduation where Nancy guilted me into Jake's loan payment instead of a house deposit. My fingers trace my first job celebration, beaming at the camera, unaware my bonus would vanish into Nancy's credit card debt the next week. Tears blur the edges, but they feel different, not hurt, but release, a shedding of the weight I've carried. I stand, brushing dust from my jeans, and move to my desk, the laptop screen glowing with purpose. I open Reckoning, the document I started, and my fingers fly, adding dates, amounts, screenshots, every guilt-laden transfer cataloged. January 2020, $8,400. February, $3,200. March, $2,800. The total hits $147,632, a number that steals my breath. But I keep going, attaching the forged loan doc, a weapon of truth. I draft an email to David. This is my last communication regarding financial support. All evidence is with my attorney. I hit send, the whoosh, a door slamming shut, and the backlash is instant. Nancy's voicemail hisses, "How dare you air our business?" Tom's cuts sharper, "You ungrateful." Jake texts, "Real classy, sis." I delete them all, my hands steady, each rejection a brick pulled from their wall. Emily's text breaks through. "Coffee tomorrow?" Been worried. I reply, "Yes." A warmth spreading in my chest, hope taking root. The community hall smells of stale coffee as I stand before my extended family, projector remote in hand. The screen behind me a blank slate soon to be stained with truth. Nancy, Tom, and Jake sit in the front row, their faces tight with defiance. But I click the remote, and it begins. "I've called this meeting," I say, my voice carrying clear through the stunned silence, "to ensure transparency about our family's finances." First, Nancy's frantic texts about fictional emergencies flash up. Then Tom's threatening emails. Then Jake's manipulative pleas. Linda's hand flies to her mouth. Uncle Pete stares at his shoes, and murmurs ripple through the crowd as the scope of their lies unfolds. I keep going, letting the evidence speak. Bank statements, recordings, the email chain of their scripted crises. The video plays last, their laughter filling the room, our little ATM, and it lands with devastating clarity, no longer a wound, but a shield. The screen goes dark, and silence holds for a breath before erupting into gasps and whispers. My phone buzzes. Emily's posted our cafe clash online. David's shared my files with his network, and support floods in, a wall of solidarity rising around me. Nancy and Tom sit frozen, their guilt arsenal useless, and Jake shrinks, his cocky mask slipping. I end with, "Obligation isn't love," and the applause builds, drowning out their fading power. Later, through the hall's thin walls, I hear Linda's voice, thick with tears. "I can't believe what we've done to her," her regret a crack in their united front. The hall empties, but I catch Jake alone, staring at his phone, shoulders slumped, a flicker of something like regret before he turns away. Days later, at a press conference, I face cameras, the USB drive heavy in my hand. For years, I believed family meant sacrificing everything. I say, my voice steady. Today, I show what that looked like. The evidence unravels again, and the crowd's shock fuels a viral storm, their lies crumbling under the light of truth. I breathe, deep, real, mine. Back in my apartment, I spread the evidence across my desk. Statements, screenshots, recordings, a map of my liberation. The laptop glows with social media support, each comment a brick fortifying my resolve. I open a new document, Legal Action Phase 1, and outline my steps, hands steady with purpose. This isn't reaction anymore. It's strategy, a reclaiming of what's mine. A notification pings, an anonymous email. The final piece is closer than you think, and my heart pounds, a cautious thrill threading through my triumph. Whatever it is, I'm ready. They're control ash, and I'm the flame.